right, hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Cardback Cafe Fresh Brew with me, Frank.
And me, Jeff.
That is right, we are back at it again, talking toys, all the latest news, info about the world of toys, action figure collecting, adult collectibles, and our own collections, and doing it again with the only person in the world who I think I could do this with, because we keep each other in check, I guess, but also we set each other loose when it comes to this sort of stuff. Jeff, how the heck's it going?
Oh, man, it's going here. You know, summer's just kicked off in full bloom. Got a busy weekend ahead. It's the wife's birthday. Also have a wedding to attend. So we got to, chop all the events up and sprinkle it out over the next 3 days. So, you know, in the wrestling business, we can get all of our shit in, if you will. But yeah, it's going well. You know, can't complain, as you said. Yeah, world of toys just ever expanding. I think it should be more like the universes at this point. I think we're on Earth 47 when it comes to just where we're at in toy collecting. But yeah, keeping up with it all, and no one else I'd rather be doing it with. But yeah, Frank, how the heck are you?
Yeah, you know, I'm okay. It's another week has passed. We're sort of doing this again on a Friday, so it's felt like we've obviously had less time since we recorded the last one and since we recorded this one. And I'd say up until yesterday, the news there was news, but it felt like there was a bit less. And then all of a sudden there was a bit of an avalanche of it. So a lot more SDCC stuff to talk about, a couple of cool reveals, a couple of companies we've talked about, a couple of companies we haven't talked about. It's going to be a big show. It's the start of the weekend. I'm going to kick things off here, Jeff, with a little brew, a fresh brew, if you will.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Oh.
See, I spoiled mine, but
that's all right.
Also have a little something here.
Cheers.
Refresher.
I'm going to do it this way.
Cheers.
I'm giving Brewdog their free advertising with a Domino's IPA, so this'll be good.
Yeah,
not as pepperoni tasting as I would have thought.
Oh, okay, yeah. And it was there in 30 minutes or less, otherwise you get free.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get into the news straight away, because we have, like I said, a lot to get into, like we always do, and we're going to kick things off with a slew of San Diego Comic-Con exclusive news, starting with Mattel, who have finally started to show their hand a bit after keeping quiet for a while. I mean, they've been dropping bits and bobs here and there, but then it just seemed like they said, here's the rest, and some
They're looking
big stuff
for their
here.
window to get in there.
Some
trying to merge
interesting
into the lane.
ones. Yeah, a little too badness here, because so what do we got here? We've got a couple reveals, some things that we're maybe not too interested in, such as some Hot Wheels and stuff like that, but also some stuff we might be interested in. Hot Wheels, we're getting some Star Wars spaceships with the Naboo Star Cruiser here. I've always had a special place for these small, Star Wars vehicles, Micro Machines, Hot Wheels, all that sort of stuff. Am I a collector of it? No. But I do think it's cool, and I think it's obviously interesting that there are... these things have never died, Hot Wheels. So many toy series and companies have come and gone in the years, but Hot Wheels have stuck around. Yeah. They've endured the test of time.
They are the sleeping giant of toys. Just someone's buying them.
Someone's buying them, and this Starship Selects the Naboo Starfighter coming out. What else did we get from Mattel? There's a lot of pictures of this. This was a big one here. The Jurassic World Jimmy Buffett. R.I.P. Jimmy Buffett. The Jimmy Buffett exclusive action figure from his Blink and You'll Miss It cameo in Jurassic World, where he's running away from a Margaritaville, but keeping hold of his margaritas in each hand.
What do you say about this thing? It kind of speaks for itself. It's just incredible.
We've definitely hit a point like you said, in this world where
Earth 47.
I don't know what to. You literally can't predict anything anymore. If this would not be on the bingo card for me for SDC, for any exclusive, for any toy, I would have never expected. I mean, maybe with McFarlane's Music Maniacs, but to be like, we're getting a Jimmy Buffett figure from Jurassic World, and I mean, even like the presentation here is something else.
They put some time and effort and thought into this, as you could see. It's so, out of left field, but it's funny. It's a fun little, I guess, nod to that. And to be honest, I don't even really remember this cameo.
So there you go, Jimmy Buffett on a margarita with some margaritas with some dinosaurs.
On top of like Cabo Cantina, it looks like. So.
Oh God. Then we've got Ken's Mojo Dojo Casa House.
Yes.
And I mean, is this? I didn't even actually see the scale. This isn't Barbie scale. This is a micro set.
Yeah.
Sort of like the old Mighty Max style size from the looks of it.
Yeah.
And
it's like, like they're testing the waters here.
Yeah.
They didn't make the big scale yet.
But yeah, obviously from the Barbie movie. Everyone loved the Barbie movie. It was a great movie, wasn't it? Lovely film. You can't.
Mr. Gosling just shines.
He keeps hitting them out of the park. And finally, we've got what is probably the most exciting, unless you're a Jimmy Buffett fan, of course, is the Too Bad exclusive from Mattel that will be on Mattel Creations as well, out of the cartoon collection. And I've got to say, again, not having grown up with Master of the Universe, but now collecting some of the figures, always sort of seeing Too Bad, knowing a bit of the backstory. This is really cool. Like the fact that it's a 2-pack, it's got the mix and match feature, so you can actually have them separate and then make them as a whole, as Too Bad. Just really cool. And I'm sure fans of the franchise, long-standing fans, this is something they've been waiting for a long time. Even again, Mattel hitting it out of the park with the packaging as well.
Yeah, just a lot of fun here. And yeah, even not growing up watching the show, this is definitely a figure that I remember, a character that I remember. So just a lot of fun here to see, and that they're still continuing that line and kind of covering all the bases there. But is this something you think that you're going to go in on? Or?
It's tough to say. Probably not, because of it's an exclusive. It's a bit of a higher cost. So the Too Bad, for instance, that's gonna be $50. It's gonna launch on Mattel Creations in 26 days. I imagine this going and selling out very quick. So I don't have a normal Too Bad yet. If I was gonna get any Too Bad, it would probably be this, because it gives you the options. Like again, you've got, how do you blow up the pictures here? You've got each individual character, but then you've got the torso that allows you to create Too Bad. And the best thing about the sort of Masters of the Universe classics and cartoon collection lines is obviously the pop and swap ability with all the figures, and they've just picked the best character to lean into that with. So whether I can sort of be bothered keeping track of that timer, logging on, I sort of think my Master of the Universe collecting has now narrowed down pretty much to just the Turtles in Grayskull and riding that wave, because with the rest of Master of the Universe classics, I've been picking and choosing, whereas
it's like
Turtles in Grayskull, I'm trying to get all of. Yeah.
It's kind of like how I am with Classified, just getting those big hits. And it's kind of nice not to have that personal like nostalgia for in that sense.
It allows you the time and space to be selective and to know, like, if you miss something, it's not the end of the world. Like,
exactly.
Sometimes in collecting, it does feel a bit like end of the world if you can't be a completist in it. And it's nice to just have a line that you can dip your toe in and out of and sort of not care if you miss one thing or another. So all these Mattel Creations exclusives, they're all going to be launching July 25th at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So again, if you want to get your hands on any of those, MattelCreations.com or creations.mattel.com at that time. So definitely some cool stuff there to look forward to for fans. But let's stick to some more SDCC stuff, because we've talked in the past about the BST AXN line from the Loyal Subjects. We showed off some of the exclusives from last week, some of the single packs, and they showed off one more here for their Turtles line, a 2-pack. Don't have the best looks at it yet, but Metalhead and Donatello, and I don't know about you, Jeff, but I am a sucker for a Metalhead.
Yeah, same over here, and from what we can see of it, this is looking pretty cool. And their first Metalhead release that I can think of. Interesting that it's going to be glow in the dark, but I guess that's what makes it an exclusive. So I wonder if maybe we'll get another one down the line if we can't get our hands on this one. But very exciting nonetheless to see a Metalhead in this line.
Yeah, I am hopeful. Like, I don't think I'm going to chase after the SDCC exclusive, but it would be nice, and I think a lot of it is... a lot of those figures that were revealed last week, the SDCC exclusives, are all sort of repaints or glow-in-the-dark versions of single-pack figures that haven't even come out yet. So I'm hoping this is the same thing, because, I've already got Donnie, so I hate double-dipping. I hate being forced to double-dip. But Metalhead is just one of those characters, and
that's how these
IDW
2-packs work
Metalhead
these
is
days.
great.
Yeah, he's definitely the one you're going after in this one, but would love to see a single release down the road.
I have faith in the Loyal Subjects. They'll do some stuff, I'm sure, for us. They're nice guys. They're nice guys. What else? So this stuff just came up very recently. I had to I just remembered to put it on, but a couple of Super 7 reveals. So obviously they've already hit us up with their Ultimates reveals for SDCC, but they were dropping a bunch of info on reactions, and a couple of them are pretty cool, and stuff that I would potentially be after. I don't really know Thriller Gorilla, but he's making his debut at Comic-Con. Not a Comic-Con exclusive that I can see, but made his debut at Comic-Con is a Thriller Gorilla Super 7 reaction. So is that from something? Is that is it a brand? Is it a cartoon? Did I miss something in the 80s?
Getting like Hanna-Barbera vibes from this a little bit. But I'm loving the look. I mean, it's just
that packaging
wacky,
is good.
Crazy things, very reminiscent of late 80s, early 90s kind of gimmicks, but but he looks like fun.
This one, debuting at Comic-Con as well, looked really cool. A reaction for Godzilla based on a vintage model kit, which is... It's so... say what you will about reactions, but they do some experimentation with that line, and this is just so cool. Like, I mean, I didn't have that model kit growing up, but I'm sure that's gonna hit some people right in the old the feels that they probably had growing up, these things.
Exactly, kind of scratch that itch, and we've seen them do that before with some old throwbacks to toys that are no longer practical to chase down in the aftermarket. But this really does kind of scratch that itch.
6 points of articulation, a couple more Godzilla-related ones, some glow-in-the-dark versions of Baragon and Anguirus. Very cool. Again, these aren't... None of these are SDCC exclusives, just making their debuts at SDCC. You say SDCC enough times, and your tongue just loses all.
It needs like a
function.
better nickname. I'm
just gonna call it Comic-Con from now on.
Yeah.
But the one that really got me here, the one that tickled me, the one that I think I'm going to have to go after, not this Hedorah, but there's another cool one, a 1970s colorway version. It is the Jet Jaguar and Godzilla Shaking Hands 2-pack, based on a very classic scene from that film. I love this. I've come close to buying some of the Godzilla reactions before, but haven't really done it because I think that's a slippery slope. I could easily get one and be like, I need them all now. But I think I could just get this and have that as part of a Godzilla collection.
Yeah, you could almost keep it right in the package too. It's displayed so
I don't
nicely.
think it would come
looks
out.
like so much fun. Yeah.
I've got, again, it's something to touch upon the 3Ps later, but I just got a shipping notice for a Jet Jaguar SH Monster Arts figure that I've had on pre-order for, it feels like a year now.
Yeah.
So just a really fun, goofy character.
Yeah.
And one of the best episodes of Mystery Science Theater 3000, Godzilla vs. Megalon. But yeah, so all of these are going to be available at the Super 7 Comic-Con booth, making their debut at Comic-Con, but then hopefully going on to be available in other places. At least that is what I'm hoping, based on very limited reading of those tweets. So, yeah. But sticking with SC... Oh, see, I did it again. I said I wasn't going to. Sticking with Comic-Con exclusives, Jeff.
Comic-Con.
Back to Hasbro, who've already had some big winners here. But they dropped a couple more on us this week, and they're good. They're good ones. Including Star Wars Black Series, Darth Maul, and Sith Speeder, which just takes me back to when Episode 1 came out. Because
Frank, this reminds me of when we skipped school to see Episode 1.
Opening day, first show?
Rain that day, first showing. Then we went to Walmart after. And I remember buying this, well, the original release of this toy, Darth Maul on the Sith Speeder. Good memories, man.
I remember that. Like, when I saw this, that was the first thing that popped in my mind. I'm like, Jeff bought this when we went to see Episode 1. Could it tempt you back with this new version, though?
You never know. I see it walking those aisles. If we're together, just to do it again, run it back at almost, years old. We could. That could be a fun little thing.
So let's see here. What else did they do? So we had another Marvel Legends reveal, and this is an exclusive Comic-Con 2024. Death's Head, who got maybe a Guardians of the Galaxy wave from years ago, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, but it was like a modern interpretation that I don't recall a lot of people enjoying. I think this one has gotten a very strong reaction from comic fans because it's more of a classic look. And, not super familiar with this character, but definitely a cool and interesting look. It's really giving me Anti-Monitor vibes as well.
And cool to see that Hasbro and the Marvel Legends wave is continuing to deliver kind of, I guess, updated or newer characters. This one looks like fun. I also don't know too much about this character, but big beefy guy, lots of cool colors going on. I could be about this.
I'm loving that cape as well. Like, again, not a fabric cape, but I just like the texture. I like the tatters. And I can't, sometimes a fabric cape with a bendy wire is great, but we were saying it last week, I think. Sometimes you like a plastic cape if it hits you the right way.
Exactly.
And then this, again, a version of this character I've heard of. I've seen pictures of. Not super familiar with, but instantly sort of like, I think I need it. Yeah. And it is Once a Man Cobra Commander. I just...
that little gif in the corner.
Meh.
What can you say? It looks amazing. So much fun. Again, this line just when you think you're out, right? I love the little pack-in snake that he comes with that's going to be able to coil around guys.
Yeah.
Like, it's so silly, and I love it. like, he's got arms, and I
articulated as well.
It's these kind of figures that make me look at this and say, I really need to learn more about G.I. Joe and go into more depth on some of these stories and the cartoon and comics, because this just looks like chaotic fun.
Not knowing much about the character, but it's just the display options. Like this, I don't think this would be the way I display him. I wouldn't want the... Like, I just love... I love that look. He's like a serpent, but then he still has that Cobra Commander voice. Yeah.
He's got that intimidation factor. Like, I'm still the boss here. Yeah.
And look at that packaging.
Yeah. Yeah, they've done a great job with their packaging and the artwork and just letting that kind of speak for the packaging. I'm so glad, like, we're going back to a window packaging style in general. So yeah, this is one that if I could get my hands on them, I will. I'm going to do my best.
Yeah, I don't know if they going to... Hopefully they offer these online. I've not read too much about it, but so the Cobra Commander Once a Man, that is going to retail for $39.99. Figure's going to include alternate head, hands, and weapons, as well as a bonus figure of Cobra Commander mutated into snake form. The Death's Head, I almost want to call him Death's Hand, also $39.99. Comes with 6 accessories, including a shield and axe package inside a box inspired by the character's vintage collector card. And the Darth Maul and Sith Speeder is going to be a bit more pricey, $59.99.
Oh.
Now, it does say that this will be the first year that you can buy potentially these online. So it will be directly selling its exclusives at the show rather than offering... Ooh, maybe it won't be. Maybe I've read that wrong. No, July 18th. Also note that select quantities of these figures will be made available through the Hasbro Pulse website after Comic-Con is over. So, probably in very limited quantities.
Yeah,
but
that Hasbro Pulse site, we all know that's
no and
tough
love.
One to... hard to get success on that site with orders like this.
Yeah, hopefully there'll be some left, and because look, that's the thing with these Comic-Con things now. Most companies have caught wise to the fact, like, look, we still make exclusives and make smaller runs, but we are doing everybody a disservice, ourselves included, by not making these available to a wider audience, because you'll sell them all at Comic-Con, but you can only sell so many. Like, there's only so many people at Comic-Con, whereas online, and like, look what NECA's been doing the last 3 days. Stuff's been online. People have been able to get it. So I just think the more and more companies that realize, offer some of these things online, let everybody, you know, not everybody can go to California, LA San Diego. Not everybody can go to San Diego for a weekend once a year for this massive event. Like, I've still not been to one. I'd still love to go to one at some point. But for us collectors who are thousands of miles away, you know, hopefully we can get our hands on some of these things. Yeah,
it would be nice to kind of get a little bit more balance to that whole system through Hasbro.
Now, I'm sure as well there's been a lot more SDCC stuff. Like I said, today, as of the recording, is the last day that the NECA store was offering their exclusives. I know the Turtle... I checked maybe an hour before recording this when they went on sale again, and that Turtles 2-pack was still available. And I added it to the cart, and I saw what the shipping was. The shipping wasn't bad, but I didn't pull the trigger in the end. I held back because I think in total with the shipping it was going to be about $82, $83. I was like, I like the figs, but I don't. For me, they're not a necessity. So sometimes you just gotta let the things go.
That is an example of maturity and growth within this collecting hobby, and you and I might have been doing this simultaneously because I did pretty much the exact same thing. Get up to the line, you go, nah. Time out.
See, now the thing is, I let those turtles go, but now we're gonna talk about some new picks that were shown off for the remastered Playmates Turtles lines. Now, we talked about these probably on the first or second episode of the video podcast that we did about a month and a half ago. So we've had some blurry images, some blurry reveals, but it looks like we've now finally have the official press photos, not sort of showing us too much new, but giving us a way better look at sort of details and accessories and all that. And I gotta say, these are growing on me. So these are going to be the four bros available, starting exclusively at Walmart, which might be hard to get, but also it's Playmates Turtle stuff. It's not really ever that hard to get. Like, even the exclusive stuff, they just fill the shelves with it. I've got to say, like, I'm loving the packaging. That 40th anniversary branding works. Like, the little comic art tear-throughs. Like, there's enough. It screams vintage without being vintage packaging. And it's doing something different. It's not just recycling the old vintage packaging. But, like, I'm a bit shocked with how many accessories it comes with. You know, some of the The newer weapons are a bit over the top. Like Donatello here with his normal bow staff and then just some crazy metal spike chain bow staff. But loving the bits of the roof diorama that every character comes with. I'm loving the ninja stars, the other weapons they're coming with. I know there's still some complaints like, oh, they swapped the faces of Donatello. Is it Donatello and Leonardo they swapped the faces of? Like, Leonardo's supposed to have the one side with the teeth, and Donatello's supposed to have the double. To me, that's not a big deal because, you know, if somebody was like, tell me how each turtle's face was set up in the original toy, I couldn't tell you unless I had them in front of me. For me, the only thing that made them stand out was the color of their skin and the color of their bandanas. Like, like I know that, you know, all the greens are different shades and obviously the color. So how their mouths are shaped, I don't really care about.
Personally, as a Leo fan, I much prefer the more menacing look on him too. So I'm okay with it for sure. I do really like this new approach that it seems like a lot of companies are doing by packaging, making some of the accessories actually diorama pieces. You know, it's something we talked about last week with, you know, those Super 7 Ultimates that just came out. You know, like if you can get rid of hands and other maybe weapons, and if you give us something that is more of a display piece, I think that's just a great way to go. It's such a win-win. Obviously, like we see Diamond Select do this quite a bit. We've seen NECA do it. So it's cool to see that you'll have a cooler rooftop display if you buy all 4 of these figs. And yeah, I think for what they are, they look good. They look like fun. I'd be interested to see one actually strolling an aisle so I could pick it up and kind of get like a really good look. And yeah, that could tempt me to do it, to go in on it, if you will. But yeah.
For me, the only thing I dislike about these is I just keep going back to the ankles, because we're spoiled now because, you know, every figure should have an ankle rocker, and to have an ankle swivel, and like we've seen, you know, we can see the articulation in the shoulders and the top of the thighs there. It's basically the same articulation that those like comic book turtles that Playmates put out has. And, like, you could get them in more poses than you could get the original, but they're not going to be necessarily dynamic poses. They're sort of all going to be a bit awkward.
They've been doing this hinge gimmick since, you know, really the 80s line with some of those turtles when they tried that tooling. Updated, some better ankle articulation would definitely be good. Like that, the new Mutant Mayhem turtles that they came out with, that was abysmal. Like it was a weak point in those figs.
Like even the fact that, you know, these are all, you know, I don't think these are going to be retailing for much. I think the retail was looking like it was 15 or something like that. And obviously the Mutant Mayhem figures were less than that. If you have to add like $2 to the overall price to get an ankle rocker in, I just think that an ankle rocker completely changes the game, because it just opens up so many more poses for them. And especially when you're talking about, you know, quote unquote ninja turtles, like you want them to be able to like get in a cool kicking or fighting pose, and as it is, you
could still keep like a single jointed knee too when you do that. You could still get some really good range out of it.
A lot of companies are actually, you know, the ones that stick with the single joint knees or elbows have done well with it. I mean, obviously Super 7 stuck with it for ages and have only just decided to start putting doubles, funnily enough, with the turtles. But, you know, if you do the single joints right, you could still get what you would want. Like, you know, you don't need to go much past 90 for legs and arms to still be able to do some cool stuff. I mean, again, for guys nearing our 40s, I can barely go past 90 degrees on all my joints.
Exactly.
So the diorama pieces here, which I like, endless ways to connect. I mean, there's definitely there's a finite number of ways for these 4 things to connect, but I do like the display options for sure. And yeah, you know, the texture thing doesn't bother me. It almost looks like they've got that rubbery feel that the movie Star Turtles would have.
That's kind of where my mind went to when I first saw these.
I can't see them. Like, when I see these, I see soft rubber. I don't see hard plastic. So it's going to be weird when I open one and I'm like, oh, this is hard plastic, but just like textured and bumpy. But yeah, no, I'm liking these. Like, I'm a sucker. I will probably get these. And I said 15. Suggested retail price $12.99.
So
and
there you
due
go.
out this summer at Walmart.
We might see it when you're back.
That is the
be
hope.
Very well, a pickup for that week.
Because these are the kind of figures that they get picked up and then they get opened and they become hotel desk buddies as well.
And to have them for under, like what, right around under $50. I mean, that's pretty good.
For all four. And,
right around.
And
right around $50.
They'll, they could do anything with these, apart from doing the same figs over and over again, which Playmates obviously has been doing. Like, if they're gonna update things like this, I would go all in on it again, especially if it is $13 a figure. Yeah. Yep. Where else can you get that loaded of a thing for that little money nowadays?
Yeah, exactly.
We will come back to the Turtles later because it's the Cardback Cafe. So
yeah.
But for now, let's move on to...
Call it the Turtleback Cafe at
It's
this point.
becoming that. I mean, last week was basically turtle time all the time. Yeah. But yeah, so moving to a company we've not talked about yet, SooSoo Toys, which is a overseas company. I want to say Chinese. We're on the verge here of a third-party company again, who have done some really good figures in the past. But one that's jumped out to me, caught my attention, is they've revealed a Kamen Rider Black figure, a 1/6 scale Kamen Rider Black. And again, Kamen Rider Black, Kamen Rider Black RX was what the Masked Rider Fox Kids show was based on, much like Super Sentai was Power Rangers and all that. And I've just always loved this design. Kamen Rider Black is one of the more popular Kamen Rider series, and because it's because it's a third-party company, these 1/6 scale figures tend to run a little bit less money. So it's definitely got my attention. The whole sort of pleathery, rubbery costume doesn't give me a lot of hope for the future, because obviously you see horror stories about keeping things like this in poses and having it degrade over time.
I was even wondering in some of these promo pics that diaper piece looks like it's already got some stress wear to it, which that always concerns me, especially with like pleather material.
I did go on a little tear once I saw this come online. I looked at some more of the stuff they've done. They've done a couple of Kamen Rider figures that are already out, including that Kamen Rider Black RX. Like, that one's already out and people are starting to get it in hand. And it looks great. Like, it's got light up eyes, light up belt. You light it up with a magnet, which seems to be the rage nowadays, which I love, like the hidden magnet button. But if I can get it for the right price, I mean, this is sort of the new one, the Kamen Rider Black figure, which they're calling Century Warrior, SST-069 Century Warrior, is currently sort of showing up for March 2025 release and retailing about $150, which, again, it's a lot of money, but for a 1/6 scale figure, it's not ridiculous, because those tend to be like $250, $3.
Yep. And these third-party companies are getting so good at doing these figures between the sculpts and the soft goods. So it's kind of a steal. It's kind of such a great time to get in on some of these third-party figures. So before they, take off and actually attain real license and then do a markup of, $300 a fig.
Here's a quick look just on eBay of the Kamen Rider Black RX one. So this one's already hitting people's hands, and I mean, 200, but you find this is eBay. There are some sites out there where you can get it for a lot less than that, but I remember having this fig from when Fox had the show, and it was just a masked rider figure back in the day. I had a version of it. Yeah, definitely a striking design that I'll keep my eyes on. I won't say I'll go in on it, but definitely has my attention.
Yeah.
And then another company that has my attention, another overseas company, is Yolopark, who have been getting quite big and popular recently because of their AMK series Transformers figures. So they've had the Optimus Prime and the Megatron hitting people's hands. Sort of, I've come close to buying them because the price is sort of right. It's about $50. And from all the reviews I've seen online, they seem quite cool. They can sell them as basically model kits, but in reality, they sort of come as Build-A-Figures. Everything's painted. Everything's... it's not like a plastic model kit where you're cutting out pieces from runners and piecing it together. Basically, you open the box, it's like arms separate from a torso, separate from the legs, separate from the head, and you piece it together. So I think there's like a legal gray area where it ends up as a proper action figure, like full-on articulation, and it doesn't have that light feel of a model kit, but they're able to get around licensing by calling it a model kit.
I see.
And they've just announced the Evangelion figures. So Eva 0, 1, and 2. And again, always a sucker. I am literally a sucker. I can't tell you how many different versions of these 3 robots I have now because I am losing count. But it might be another one. Those Transformers figures are getting too much like good praise for me to ignore these.
Yeah, and really kind of struck the right chord with this wave. You get everything like you'd want in one fell swoop.
Yeah, all like no wait in here. Just get all the main characters out of the way, and then hopefully be able to go a bit deeper. Because this is the problem with companies that touch Evangelion is a lot of the time they'll space out these main 3, and then after that. You maybe get 1 or 2 more of the Avas, and that's where these lines tend to end.
Cash out. Yeah.
Yeah, and Ava's one of those series that has yet to get a definitive start-to-finish toy line. Like a lot of the designs, especially for like the evil angels, they're not really toyetic. Like, one's just a big floating ball. One is a big bit of light. So obviously you can't do some of those, but there are definitely some that companies haven't touched, which is surprising, and that they could do. So I don't think Yolopark will be that company, but I'm just a sucker. Just full stop. Not even a sucker for this. Just a sucker.
Just a sucker. Like the cartoon, your head just turns into a sucker.
Yeah. Right now, you can't pre-order these unless they've popped up on a couple of other sites. But as far as when we were recording this, you could only pre-order these in a couple of Asian territories, but I would imagine these would go up on websites like 5K Toys or Gundamit or just a couple of, those sort of websites that specialize in third-party and overseas lines. So definitely keeping my eye out for those to eventually hit. And just based on the price of the Transformers ones, I'm hoping they'll be like, $35-$40.
Yeah.
Something affordable. What else is next? Keeping in line with giant monsters, we talked about this company last week, Titanic Creations. We talked about their Yongari, or we were calling it Yongari, but yeah, Yongari. Crowdfund is nearing its end. I don't know how many more days it's got left as of the recording of this, but we did say they had to get to a certain number of sales for their various stretch goals. They've since eclipsed. They're at 632 sales now. They've adjusted their stretch goals so that they need 18 more sales to get the last stretch goal, which is a destructible bridge. Right, we've got a quick editing update here. Just editing the episode that you're currently watching where we said there was, 632 of these bad boys sold. Well, updated since we recorded and in between now and the editing. Boom! Titanic Creations hit all the stretch goals, so congratulations, Titanic Creations.
and get your Yongari ordered, because you're getting a whole heap of accessories for it. And look at how that bad boy scales with some of your Godzilla figs. Great stuff.
So you can see everything else here. 200 unlocked, the figure being built. 250 with a flame breath add-on, a laser horn add-on, helicopters, tanks, jets, oil storage tank, a gate, and this destructible bridge. To give you an idea, these are all the sort of things that it will come with. And I
love the
like
little outlet for scale in the background.
and the outlet for scale. Like, this looks like, and this is, this is for just me and Jeff here, but this reminds me of like Steve's old apartment in Florida.
Oh my God, yeah. Only there's already more in this apartment than there was in it.
Yeah. I'm just like, if you pulled out, there would be a Top Gear poster on the wall.
A Braves whatever logo.
But I do like, I like how much comes with this thing. I love it's got such an interesting design. Like I said it last week. It's one of those films like, I'm surprised I've never seen, but maybe I'll go and watch. Whether I go in on this, I still don't know. I'm sort of on the fence because I miss the Gorgo, and I do have a bit of the FOMO. I just, even all these add-ons that'll fit well with like the Monster Arts figures that I currently have and stuff like that. It's cool. It's definitely cool. I'm glad that it's reaching its last stretch goal for those who have gotten who've bought it or have pre-ordered it. So 18 more sales to go. If you haven't already, if you're interested, head on over to Titanic Creations website, which is titaniccreations.com, to get involved. And they also teased one more new kaiju, which is the Pulgasari. So, Yongari was a South Korean kaiju movie. Pulgasari was a North Korean kaiju movie. So, we don't talk too much about the old... the North Koreans nowadays, but back in the day, they had Pulgasari, which was this big, evil, devil-looking guy, and apparently he is potentially next coming down the line. Again, I don't know much about Pulgasari. I've seen it pop up in various videos and stuff online, like kaiju deep dives and all that, but this was the history of this one, I've checked the Wikipedia. It's got quite an interesting history to the making of this film. So definitely give that a read if you want.
Oh, I could imagine what's weaved into this.
A lot of political intrigue going on behind the scenes here. But it's really cool that Titanic Creations is giving us these sort of, I guess you could call them almost like long lost kaiju or kaiju media, like figures
lost media kaiju
you just would never have expected to see a year ago, let alone 10 years ago, or we were barely getting Godzilla toys 10 years ago, and now we're getting North Korean kaiju movies ones. So definitely cool, and really good to see Titanic Creations keep going from strength to strength. We're sort of nearing the end already. The news is zipping through this week. We're going back to...
I'm going to have to hang all the clocks from around the world. I don't know why. Just all the news we have going on. It's 9 o'clock in Chicago, and
it does feel like a news broadcast. Like, I need a bit of paper, like, this just in. Pulgasari is crowdfunding now. But this one just came up, I think, today or last night, and I was excited to see this. We've talked about the PlayStation line from... from... Not Jado. Who does... Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. From those...
Spin Master.
Those other Spin Master.
Spin Master. Yeah, so we've talked about the PlayStation line from Spin Master. We've seen pics of a lot of the figures now. But finally, we have seen an image of the Jin Sakai, and excited. That's all I can say. And this is going to be one of the $30 figures. And it's doing everything I need it to do. Like, it's got, obviously all that detail's not there. There's, the paint isn't what an import figure would be, but we are still talking about a $30 figure. And look at the accessories we've got. The detail that is there is quite nice. The paint, I mean, it looks like we've got a printed face under that mask. The multiple swords.
The layering.
Yeah.
texturing of this for $30. Looks like you're gonna have really good articulation, and for my money, this is great. It's out of the box, ready to display. But I guess if you wanted to add some paint detailing, some wash, whatever, the sculpt's there. But yeah, these are just getting me more and more excited. The more we kind of look through these, the more things come out and develop. I'm just so excited to see what they're going to look like finally in hand, and also just where they're going to go with this line. There's just so many different avenues, especially in the PlayStation library of just awesome characters that we could get.
I just like at this point as well, with the pictures that we're seeing, like, press pictures basically, like full res images now. I still don't think there are like official details on when these are hitting. Like, it feels like with the pictures we've seen that these should just be popping up in stores.
And where they're hitting, right? Because have they given that detail? Like, I would imagine, like I could imagine like GameStop would be a place. Yeah. It seems like it would make sense, but maybe not. GameStop is kind of all over the place when it comes to that stuff. But
hopefully they'll be available wide for everybody. I would enjoy that, because I don't want to have to hunt around. But I would assume, whether they'll be at like places like Walmart and Target, I don't know. Yeah. But it's PlayStation, so I think that's a big enough brand that you could.
Like, it seems like it could be sitting right next to your like loyal subject stuff, and then you've got you move into this section. So hopefully, because I'm gonna want a couple of these.
Oh, 100%. Right, last few stories here. We're talking some WWE. A couple of nice reveals here. Heading over to Toy News Eye for some info on the WWE Defining Moments box set from Mattel, which is going to be a Ringside Collectibles exclusive for $125. But that is the Kane that I've always wanted, Jeff.
Yeah, outside of the... Okay, so... I'm really loving this idea here. Not so much the execution with a lot of them, outside of the K. We'll probably pass the picture, but we all remember that iconic moment with his arm catching fire. Yeah, there it is.
Looks like he's got a Cheeto on there.
Yeah, it's a little ridiculous, but it's wrestling. This is how. This is how the mind's eye remembers it. Like, remember when he was just in flames? But this is a fun little set. Again, like I said, fun idea. I don't know if the execution's there for all of these guys. I've seen definitely better face portraits for a lot of these wrestlers, but definitely like the idea. If they did like a single release of this Kane, I could be interested for sure. But outside of that, it's fun. It's not something I'm going to go in on.
Well, the thing
but that doesn't mean other people can.
Yeah, I mean, what strikes me as odd is this just is it just a 4-pack for Ringside Collectibles, and these are individual releases afterwards? Because it doesn't seem like there's a through line that connects them all. Like, to me, it just seems like we've got these 4 Defining Moments figures that will sell separately, but Ringside Collectibles, you can have them as an exclusive 4-pack.
It's weird because it's and then is it a wave?
You know what? I've answered that my own question by going to Ringside Collectibles, because
there it is.
You can buy them separately.
All right, well then I would be in it for the Kane. The rest, there's better versions of those figures.
Yeah, because these. So obviously you're in on the WWE line. So I know just from the high up from the nosebleed seats, like looking in, I know that there's a few different sort of levels of figures, right? There's a basic, there's ultimates. Right. Where are these Defining Moments? Are they sort of on the higher end of the sort of figure releases? Or are they sort of in the middle somewhere?
I would say they're kind of on par with what they release for like Elite figures.
Okay.
The only
is
good
Elite
thing is
the top, or is Ultimate the top?
Ultimate's the top, and then you have your Elite. Then I would say Defining Moments, based on the sole fact that normally in the Defining Moments line, you tend to get more these classic throwback versions of characters, which is awesome. Which I'll go with that, or like big pay-per-view moments. But yeah, they're right there in the sweet spot, and just like the elites, some are really good, some are really bad.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I do like the idea because I don't normally shop from Ringside Exclusive for my wrestling figures, but I think it is a cool idea that they're almost doing like a wave bundle, right? But they're packaging it in a way that's a little more interesting than if you were just outright buy a wave from either from them or from another company. So I do like that idea. So yeah, it's a toy company. They're all over the place. So
yeah. Well, there are some more WWE figures that we need to talk about because sort of a series that has continued to chug along in the background that I always have an eye on because I've just always, again, and this is from a Master of the Universe Origins collector, is the WWE Superstars line, and Wave 11 has been revealed to feature Rey Mysterio, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, and the bad guy, Razor Ramon. And I've always loved the style here. Love the looks, and there's going to be 2 flavors of this Razor with a chase version. And have you dipped too much into this line at all?
I don't actually own any from this line, but I'm always so interested in picking them up. Thing is, like, I tend to forget that these exist, and then by the time I get to a Walmart, it's kind of picked over. There's really nothing available, but I'm always a sucker for a good Razor Ramon. So if I see this guy out and about, they have to come home with me.
I know, because I've got the cane, but that was the crossover.
Yes.
Which
I forgot they did that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Because that lasted 2 or 3 lines, and then it transitioned into just WWE Superstars.
Yes. Yeah.
And there's definitely been a few. I think a Papa Shango just came out that I was really interested in getting.
Looks good. And I do like that these are reminiscent of kind of the old Remco toys that were out, so they could pair with your classic Ric Flairs and some of the other guys. I think they did like NWA guys, maybe some they did some WCW, because Galoob kind of looked like this too, if I recall.
Yeah. I just thought the purple tights version of Razor is the one that I always think of.
Yeah, the classic purple and gold. And from what I was reading in these comments, because he's wearing the long trunks here, this was kind of an experiment to kind of still getting to know the character. Apparently he wrestled in that suit as on a couple of house show loops. I don't know. But neat. Like that they have these chase variants, but yeah.
Definitely one to keep an eye on as all of this stuff is. But let's go into the last bit of news. And we're going back to Turtles with something that was teased last week. It's all blending into one, whether it was last week or last year.
It's because we've been on point. We've been on schedule with these shows. So,
we're just knocking them. And that's it. You do them every week, and all the toy news just blah.
Just blurs.
But we finally have pictures of the Joy Toy Ninja Turtles, and I've got to say, minus the price point, I'm very, very interested in these because I'm a sucker for a new look for these guys, and when companies put their spins on it, and these are doing it for me.
Yeah. These tend to blend a lot of different genres together for the Turtles. I see a lot of influences from a lot of different places. But unlike you, Frank, I'm a little on the fence. I'm still undecided how I'm feeling about these. I like them, and at the same time, I'm not as encapsulated by them as I want to be. But they are kind of growing on me the more I see them. I think I need to see some more pics of them. But yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna turn my nose up at another wave of turtles coming out. I mean, it's always good to see. And here's the thing too, like,
Yeah.
I love that they're packing each one's gonna get a skateboard. I feel like that's always it's such a familiar part of the turtles and such a part of the turtles, but it's never really you never really see the skateboards come with the turtles. Like,
Yeah,
we
it
have
tends
in
to be
waves
like
here
just
and there.
Mikey gets them.
But you forget that's been like their main point of transportation in a lot of different turtle stories. So that is cool to see those packed in. I like that.
I also like just
I also
some
want
of
that
the...
big slice of pizza.
Oh yeah, I like it because it's adequate because the turtles have always been scaled smaller, so it just makes sense, right? That the pizza slice would be that big. Yeah, it's obviously it's a smaller scale. Like we said, it's 1/18.
Yeah.
So these are about 4 inches.
Yeah.
And I'm not
Fit in
saying
with your
that
classic guys.
Yeah. I'm loving the details on the back of some of the shells here. Like,
the detailing.
Detail paint, crazy. Accessories, great. But it does, at a certain point, come down to price point, and $36.80 right here on the Joy Toy website. Again, sort of a couple dollars each side of that, depending where you get them.
Yeah.
But, we're talking NECA. And I hate to say, like, that's the gold standard, but as far as, like, those are 7-inch figures, the detail, like, obviously the detail in the paint here is really well done, especially for a smaller scale, but, it's the turtles. You can't get one. You have to get 4. Like, I'm sure there are people out there who, like I only collect Leo. I only collect Raph. But most, 90% of us are like, we have to get 4. So now you're spending close to $150 on, 4 figures this big. And they look cool.
And we've already seen another company with the Fure who's doing that scale. And that take has been incredible. So, and
I'll tell you, that's the thing that's probably going to keep me from getting these, is the fact that I've dipped into those, and at least with those, it's a different interpretation. Like, again, these are taking influence from a lot of different styles, but it's, at the end of the day, it's, it is the turtles, whereas those Fure ones, I just like that it feels like turtles from a parallel universe. Because I have enough of these colors with those belt buckles, and the detail's cool. The wrist straps are cool. The little iPod there, whatever, cool stuff. But
and I think that's kind of what's not getting me as excited for these. It's not that these are in any way. I mean, they look fantastic. It's just that. Do I really need these at that price point? Kind of a dilemma.
It'll be
but
cool
for me,
to
who
see...
doesn't own the Fure, I could buy these and then buy that Bebop and they could fight.
That is true. They would scale well. I mean,
that's going to be the justification avenue I take if I decide to go in on these.
See, that's what I'm wondering, if they eventually do, like, if they go deeper with Joy Toy, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'll like their Shredder more than what Fure does, if Fure ever does a Shredder. I mean, the good Joy Toy and Fure are sort of two different beasts, where they're both overseas companies, but Joy Toy is I don't want to use the word legit. It's not more legit, but it's just more, I think, structured and set up, where they've got production process. They're used
and they
to
also
turning
seem
out
to
toys.
be working with Nickelodeon license too. They have that.
Whereas, so they can put out figures at a much better rate or quicker rate, and like research and develop new ones. Whereas the Fure ones, it's like, okay, I've got, like I said, 2 turtles and a Splinter, and that line's been going for, it feels like 2 years now.
Yeah.
So how many more years is it going to be until I get the other 2? Like I said, Mikey's pre-ordered already, but I haven't seen a Raph yet. So if Joy Toy can sort of eclipse them and be like, right, here are the 4 turtles, and then in a few months' time it's like, here's Casey, April, Shredder, Splinter. Then a few months later, Bebop, Rocksteady, and a couple... If they were to go into some of the other mutants as well, then we could be talking. Or if these, maybe there's a drop in price at some point. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. They're debuting on sale, these Joy Toy ones, so a little bit of a sale. So
Yeah, a little percentage
Something.
off there. Anything else popping up in the news? I mean, there was a couple of other smaller things here and there. I'm sure we've missed a load more. I have seen some stuff popping up of some more Ninja Turtles re-releases from Playmates. This one just came up across my feed. A re-release of the Toilet Taxi?
Oh, yeah. I've actually got the original right over there on my shelf. The missing accessories, but yeah, always fun to see this back. Of course, the one I have didn't come with a figure, but what are you gonna do?
That might not even be a re-release. I think I've screwed that up. That might just be somebody posting a picture of the original.
That came with it. I don't remember that figure coming with it though.
Did it not? Okay, did it not? Maybe it
I
is
just
a
remember
re-release.
the actual vehicle because I never had that Donnie with the helmet.
Oh, you know what? Maybe actually, I stand corrected. I think it is a re-release. This is the problem.
Okay.
I see these things pop up, and with the news nowadays, you just don't know what's happening.
It's called the Toilet Taxi, right?
Yes.
Which is funny because I've had this for years and I since forgot the name. Like I remember the Cheapskate, but
Cheapskate,
I completely remember the name of this. So
doesn't actually
that's
seem
good.
like a taxi though. Where's the passenger sit?
Well, depends on what you call passenger.
Oh,
He's
dear.
putting the passengers in the seat.
He's dropping them in, dropping them off. Oh gosh.
Taking the Browns to the Super Bowl, if you will. Which is the only way the Browns will ever go to the Super Bowl. Hot take there.
Boom. I like it. And one more, a tease with an announcement coming soon from Boss Fight Studios, who obviously we know do some good work, but I'm liking this tease.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, it's Boss Fight, so, it'll be fun. It'll be a
Sticking
good
in
scare.
there that wheelhouse of, I think, that sort of way they do those style of characters, like
Yeah, exactly.
this could be good. Yeah, we'll leave it there. We'll look forward to more.
Yeah.
But that does it for the news. God, yeah, no, I didn't think it was going to be a big news day, and then it turned out to be a big news day. So, what can I say, folks? We love talking toys, and there's always a lot of toys to talk about.
We tried to bump the show up a little earlier this week to take it a little easier on your ears, but hey, it is what it is.
I know. I can't believe, this will go up, hopefully you'll be watching this Saturday or sometime at the weekend, but it will be, obviously we're recording it on Friday, releasing it on a Saturday. I'm sure we're going to miss a lot of stuff that happens over the weekend, but, we'll touch base on that stuff when the time comes around. But for now, Jeff, it's time for the 3 Ps, purchases, pre-orders, and pickups for the week. And how are things looking this week? Because I remember last week you were saying that this week could look pretty interesting.
Yeah, I did. A couple of things came in, a couple of things on the way. So just to start with, got a notification from Big Bad that the Jada Toys Street Fighters recent wave with Dulcine and I can't think of his name. Frank, help me out here.
Bison
are shipping or preparing to ship. So they've
Nice.
charged me for them, so I should see them next week. And then I believe the Street Sharks Wave 1 should be shipping this week as well. It says July 2nd, so we'll see if it sticks to it. But that's kind of what's coming. I don't think I pre-ordered anything this week. Not yet, anyway. So that's good. Tried, like you. Just wanted to see what the whole NECA thing would be all about, that whole ordeal, and then I ran scared. So I said, $80.
It was a bit. It was
it.
like 10 or 15 more than I thought it needed to be.
You know what else it was too? I was sitting here and they don't take PayPal. You have to type in your card, and I didn't have my card, so it was also like an act of laziness as well. Like, I don't want to get up and I don't want to walk in the other room and grab my wallet and punch in a card.
I've
had
had that
been-
before.
Like, had it been PayPal, might be having a different conversation. Might have did the pay in 4. Let's do it. Let's get it done. Even though the pay in 4 doesn't do anything, it makes you think like, oh, I only pay $20 today. But yeah. But as far as arrivals, got a couple in this week. So the first one a guy I've been waiting for.
Oof.
And I pre-ordered him off of Amazon, and he was delayed. And then I got worried because I've had that happen before where an order is delayed and then it's just straight up like canceled. Like basically we can't fulfill your order. But wasn't the case here, but we have good old Marvel Legends Cable in the house.
Nice.
Comic style. Still figuring out his poses, but yeah, really, really like this figure. Just all flows together. Great articulation, great detailing. Love the classic colors. You know, a lot of people are putting them in their Marvel versus Capcom displays, but he's going to be right at home in the old X-Men display, which has become a hybrid now of like X-Men 97, X-Men that was on Fox, and a little bit of the comic styles, but it all works together. But yeah, I'm liking him. He's got, you know, pinless joints in the legs, pinless joints in this arm. It does irk me that he still has pins in this arm. It's like, come on, Hasbro.
That's so random to just have
take
one
me
limb
home.
with pins.
Yeah, but otherwise good. Love the little eye gimmick here that's going on.
Oh, he's looking good. He's been one that's tempted me.
Yeah.
And I've seen people putting him in, I think it is the Marvel Select Cable vest.
Oh, right. Yeah, I've
and
seen
he
some
looks
customs there. It looks
pretty good
fantastic.
like that as well.
Yeah. So it's I love like when you can get more options out of it. But yeah, very, very excited for him to get into that X-Men display, which is just ever growing at this point. And then the next one I picked up was, you'll kind of know where I'm going with this, Frank. But, I finally picked up the creature from the Black Lagoon.
I already know where you go.
Love me this classic monster movie in general. This was one, even despite, you know, where I'm headed with this, it's one that I had my eye on and just, you know, would have enjoyed just the classic representation of it. But Frank, that's not good enough for me. I couldn't just do the classic representation because over here at Shea Edwards, we're Munsters people, and I've been trying to expand that collection, which is very hard to do. There's not much out there. You get Diamond Select, and that's basically it for articulated figures. And to get this character from Diamond Select at this point costs, you know, hundreds of dollars. So I have customized my own Uncle Gilbert.
Wow, look at that.
using this is the coat from Flasher Gremlin.
Okay.
I made the pants myself using an old black t-shirt. I just kind of stitched them together, and they're okay. They're not perfect, but they're okay. You could see some of the... I didn't have black thread, of course. I had brown, but it kind of works for the hokiness. This is an old dish towel for a scarf, and then the hat comes from the Toy Biz thing.
See, I thought you were gonna say that the coat was from the Toy Biz thing at first.
I considered using that, but I had this laying around. I'm like, this is, you know, looks a little bit better, but yeah, I like. He's almost hokey enough. Not quite there, but he'll do it for me. And then with this, he came with 3 head sculpts. Oh, that's funny. It's kind of cutting through on the camera, but I did actually take some black paint pen and like black out his eyes to look a little bit more like the Munsters. So when he's in the display, they're nicely shadowed. But yeah, have a little custom Uncle Gil here, and he scales nicely with the rest of the Diamond Selects because those figures are, you know, upwards of 7.5 inches. So it all kind of works together. Yeah, there's the actual release of Uncle Gilbert. But,
see, I'd say you've got like a soft goods, like you've got the better sort of sculpt on like the actual Gil monster as well.
Yeah.
I think that's a great upgrade you've done there.
Yeah, and he works. So I like him. Now, you know, am I gonna have to go back and buy the Wolfman for, you know, Lily's brother? We'll see. But yeah, I'm glad how this all came together. It's something I've been wanting to do for a while, and I didn't want to waste any more time because these NECA figures and the monster figures, they kind of fluctuate when they're available and also fluctuate in price. So I got in and got out of it for what he was worth. Got him from Amazon. But yeah, fun little thing to do. So I'll share some pics once he's up there with the rest of his family. But that, Frank, is that's it for me. That's my 3Ps this week, and a fun week here.
It was I mean, you get a bit creative as well. You get some new bits in. Love it. What did I? Yeah, I've had a couple things. I'm trying to think if I pre-ordered anything. It feels like I have, and I'm potentially forgetting it.
Yeah, I know. I always have that little inkling of just something's irking me a bit.
I think that goes to show the problem we're having with this because it's like I can't even remember if I'm spending the money anymore. It's like that's potentially a problem.
Yeah.
But as far as things that came in, there wasn't anything that necessarily came in. Some of the stuff I've had lying around that I've yet to open yet, I've opened up finally and messed around with. But one thing did come in that I'm pretty excited about. It's something that I ordered it feels like a very long time ago. So let's reach into the goodie bag and see. So I picked this up through Instagram, through a creator on Instagram. Let's see if the reveal can be good.
Oh, wow.
And it's
fantastic.
Yeah, a custom art figure, Hellboy, Raphael, Ninja Turtle, and So I've always wanted to get involved with the sort of scene. Some more of the figures that have been available by the creator, who is Nyx on Instagram.
He's a great follow too. It just wow. I'm speechless. I'm rarely ever speechless when I see a figure.
I don't know.
Incredible.
The worst part is I don't know whether to open it, because the one thing is I have seen that creators, some of the creators out there who specialize in these, do resealable packaging, and as much as I like this, it's not resealable. And again, I don't think I would necessarily be selling this thing anytime soon, or whatever the market would be. But I think what I'm gonna do is potentially get a bubble display. And once I'm up in the upstairs room, pop them in one of those. But it did take a while, and to be fair, I was in contact with the Nyx every step of the way, and apologizing that things were taking a while and all that. And I'll say there were times when I was like, is he doing it? Is he getting back to me? But nope, very sort of professional through the whole process. This is his channel on Instagram, so you can follow him and just see some of the stuff he's done in the past. I think these Terminator ones are all up for sort of pre-sale now, and he's done one for each turtle, which I love. So you've got like the Donatello, Leo, Raph, and Mikey. These Street Fighter ones are amazing. Obviously, the figure that turned me on, I think both of us on, to this whole sort of scene was that My Pet Slash, which I'd still love to get. I've seen that put up a couple of times for pre-orders again, but I've sort of always missed out on it. Just when this Hellboy one went up, it was the right place, right time, had the funds.
And that's the hardest part is, having everything line up.
And I did. It was hard to make the choice because there were the two versions. There was the full horns and soft goods trench coat, and then there were the sort of the jetpack version, the shaved off horns. And I did go, so I went with the shaved off horns one.
Nice,
But it's just it's tough. I want to take it out because it looks so cool. It's like a trope to say pictures don't do it justice, but it really doesn't until you, because I thought these sort of creator figs would almost have a certain look to them, but when I look at this in person, it looks like something that would have come off the Playmates assembly line back in the day. So, that was the big thing. You know, it's not a cheap thing, but it's also one of very few of its kind. And I would suggest anyone out there who's looking for similar, definitely follow Nick's. You can send him a DM if you're after something. And it might not come to you immediately, but it's definitely worth the wait because the quality's there, and just cool that there's a community out there like this, and there's so many other people out there that do this as well. So so that's the 3 Ps out of me, Jeff. Real quick, before we wrap up, anything you want to suggest outside the box? Anything you've been watching, playing, wanting to do, wanting to see that you would suggest to the people watching this?
I mean, the simple answer right now is the new Deadpool movie coming out. Looking very much forward to seeing that. Next weekend, I believe, right? Yeah.
Oh, does it come out next week for you guys? We have to wait till the end of July over here.
I thought it was next weekend. I could be wrong. This got pushed back. I'm checking this now.
It probably is, to be fair. In the UK, the release is like the 25th of July because we booked our tickets for the first show available.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes they come out the same days, but other times they tend to be different.
It is July 26th. Okay, so it got moved. But looking forward to this nonetheless. Just the more I'm seeing of it, the more I'm getting hyped for it.
Did you see the new trailer that came out? I think it was today.
Yes. Yeah. And so I mean, it's just I've enjoyed both of the first 2 installments a lot, and so looking forward to this.
Every I've gotten to that point where I don't really want any more trailers. Like I don't even though I know certain characters are probably going to show up, and seeing that trailer today with spoiler alert for a trailer that's online and millions of people have watched, but they show off old school Sabretooth from like the original X-Men movies, and it's like I sort of knew he was going to show up, but also I would have liked to not seen it until the trailer or until being in the theater, but it's always a problem with me. I can't not watch a trailer for a film I'm excited about.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there's not too much kicking around. I watched a couple of films this week, which I would suggest to people if they have a chance. On Netflix, there's Ultraman Rising, which I finally watched, which is a nice animated film. Again, it's an Ultraman film, but you don't have to be familiar with Ultraman at all to enjoy it. It's animated in a similar style to... It's not quite as visually dynamic as Spider-Verse, but it's definitely going for that vibe. It doesn't feel like a DreamWorks movie or something like Cookie Cutter. It's definitely its own thing with its own sort of cool character designs. Maybe a bit long for its own good, but definitely an entertaining 2 hours for the most part. And good for the whole family as well. So kids, adults, Ultraman fans or not would like that. And then I watched this stop motion animated film called Junkhead, which was... There was a film that came out not too long ago that was called Mad God by Phil Tippett, the guy who, stop motion animation legend who worked on like RoboCop and Jurassic Park and all these things. And he basically had this passion project film that he was making on his own with his own budget that took him, I want to say the better part of like 20 or 30 years to make. Yeah. And he finally put the finishing touches on it, and it came out, and it was like this sort of nightmare world with all these crazy designs, and there's not even any dialogue. It's really sort of experimental. Anyway, that was in the film, but this film, Junkhead, is basically a very similar story, but from a Japanese creator who spent the better part of 10 years doing the same sort of thing. Basically making all the models, making all the sets, animating it by himself. And this one does have dialogue. It's a bit more traditional in the fact that it's a story that you can follow a bit easier. But again, just really cool character designs. Just a really cool, again, sort of post-apocalyptic vibe to it. best part of this one, you can watch the full thing on YouTube. It's like an hour and a half.
Oh. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's probably not like it's like 720p. You know, it's not full HD. It's not 4K.
Yeah.
You can get those Blu-rays and stuff, but yeah, you can find it all on YouTube as like that's how we watched it. We just put it up on the YouTube app on the TV.
I love YouTube for that sometimes.
Yeah,
you can find full features that are just there. Yeah.
So yeah, those would be my suggestions for outside of the box. But yeah, Jeff, that about does it. Before we go, really quick, let's just remind everybody the same thing we remind you of every week. Follow us over on Instagram, The Cardback Cafe, where we're posting all our fig stuff, all our info about new episodes of this show. Give it some likes, give it some comments, you know. Want to get these numbers up. Look how many people we're following. We need more people following us.
That's the ticket.
And yeah, we'll be posting more and more stuff. Like you said, hopefully, you know, Jeff, you could post some pics of your Uncle Gilbert. And also, you can make sure you like, subscribe, comment on our videos over at Kaiju Creative, where we release every new episode of Cardback Cafe Fresh Brew, as well as our back catalog and new things coming soon. So we've got Kaiju Creative in Japan, Shot for Shot, bunch of film quizzes, some video games, like sort of Let's Plays and stuff like that. And there'll be more new stuff coming, especially for Cardback fans. Hopefully some reviews, some collection tours, all that good stuff. But yeah, besides all that, Jeff, it's been another great week here talking toys with you. Another busy week. And all I could say is, you know, hope you have a great weekend to you and, of course, to the viewers as well. You know, go out there, buy some toys, open them up, pose them around, have some fun. That's what this whole hobby's about.
Yeah. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, so until next time, same time, potentially next week. I just keep saying yeah. Yeah is a good word.
Yeah.
When you've got nothing else to say. Yeah. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to come back next week for some more toy news and just random chat from me and Jeff. Have a good weekend. Have a good stuff.
Look out. Eat a hot dog. Eat a burger.
Eat a hot dog and a burger. This is a rough outro. I'll be honest, everybody. This is all off the cuff, but have a good one.
We didn't bring the 220 grit today. We brought the 60 grit, but
the rest of the show's been strong though, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Like, follow, subscribe. Goodbye, everybody. What a weird wave I'm doing. That's a weird wave. My thumbs.
You should add a sound effect into that.
like the Bewitched thing.
The twinkling, yeah.